Oh, come on now. Come on now. Y'all know me. Did you think this was gonna go by and without me saying anything about it on the major platform? No. I don't care what time of day it is. Right now they're asleep. I'm awake, wide awake. Um, I gotta say this because this echoed a lot of things that I saw developing and saw that when she wasn't on season two and they replaced her with some random black woman, I said, "Oh, buddy, something went down huge." And I don't really follow the show or follow Gil anymore. So, we don't speak on each other. There's no communication whatsoever. So it is what it is. They're probably loving it because they're getting attention on their show. But now, Underdog Fantasy and Gilbert Arenas is in a very liable situation. Finally, they're in a situation that they can't just BS themselves out of. People have tried to come at them respectfully. People have tried to come at them professionally and said, hey, let's do this the right way. You need to get some control of this show. But they didn't want to hear it. Nah, they just wanted to do it their way. Now, Underdog Fantasy has put themselves in a possible liable situation with Gil's Arena, their show that they sponsor, over a former co host and member of season one, Miko Grimes. Miko Grimes, who's been doing this for 17 years in the business. She's negotiated contracts for her husband, plays in the NFL. She's had radio shows. She's a businesswoman. She's a millionaire. She is somebody who knows a lot about what happens in sports, not just basketball. She talks football. She talks a variation of things that happen within management, negotiation of contracts, everything. She's very vast, knowledgeable about sports. And, she looks good. Yes, she looks good. And because she looks good, that seems to be like we ignore all of the facts, or because of how she looks, we just brain just go turn to mush and ignore people's innate value, and that's all they're there for, is just to look good. In Gil's case, we could see that's why he hired Miko. I told him when he hired her, I said, well, if you're gonna do this, she's gonna wear those outfits, and the cameraman, he ain't focusing enough on those boobs. Because if he did, this show would be number one every week. And they would do it. They would put her on the thumbnail and show her boobs and those outfits she was wearing, and use Miko to promote the show, and use her sexuality to get hits and get guys on the show. That's what he wanted to do. I didn't make this video for views. I made this video at this time of night just so I could do it and be done with it and get it out to the public, so that the people will know exactly everything I've been saying has been absolutely correct. And that we didn't have to make up anything. We don't have to falsify anything. You could see real people from the fake. And this is what this has come down to: real people versus fake people. And She's surprised because she thought that Gilbert Arenas, who invited her to be on the show for a whole year, he's talking about, come on, please come on my show, come on my show, begging her to do the show. And she ends up doing the show for Gilbert. She couldn't believe that Gilbert wouldn't have her back. And everything that he's done, allowing her to be manipulated by, well, not manipulated, but just humiliated on the internet, on this show in front of all these people, and just say, oh, well, that's good for the show. When she's not comfortable with that, to be completely threatened by another co-host over something trivial, like his own personal feelings about something that no one was talking about him whatsoever, did not pertain to him at all, but he was threatening to harm a black woman. Now that is terrible, where a black woman doesn't feel safe in a building where this whole cast is black men. That's sad. That is very sad. And the fact that Gil sat there and allowed all of this to go down with Miko when she venomously told him in the chats and everything else, look, this is where I don't want this to go. Like, let's try to work it out, but he needs to watch the way he's talking to me. It's not professional. All of this was addressed with the producers of the show, and the producers are just like, oh well, let's let it continue. They give somebody a slap on the wrist saying, oh, we'll fire him next time if it happens again. But nothing ever is done. Nothing seriously was taken. So the disrespect continued on the show. But now they're put in a very liable situation, because if she hires a lawyer and the lawyer contacts the show, or that notion, because of the way they handled the situation so poorly, and with the email confirmations and everything else that she has, I don't know what all she has. They face a very, very liable lawsuit. Gills Arena and Underdog Fantasy. If Miko wants to, she can bring down the entire house. Like Samson. Bring it down. And if Miko need any help from me, all you have to do is email me and I can give you what I have. And what I have is very interesting. You probably won't want it. So, Miko Grimes, if you want some information, I can provide it for you. And it might help your lawyers out. Matter of fact, have them contact me. I'm on vacation, but they can contact me even on vacation. This type of toxic behavior is unapologetic. Gilbert Arenas can go around here disrespecting the homosexual community and nothing happens. He disrespects and threatens former teammates that have in the NBA, threatening their lives, threatening their livelihood, everything, nothing happens. He brags about how he has something to do with a house being set on fire. Nothing happens. And now Underdog Fantasy. the company that is sponsoring all of this is slap dead right in the middle. You're right. You can't make this up. What's up, y'all? Hit the like button. You can't make this up. I can't do it. I'm not that good. But what I can do is make sure I put the word out. Oh, I don't mind teaming up with Miko whatsoever. Now, right, I don't have an axe to grind here. I'm not I'm not in it like that. Like I can care less. Um the way I see it is a little bit different than probably how other people see it. They think because me and Gilbert Arenas had a spat for that went on, we were all actually all in a space where none of us is dealing with each other, and that's cool. This ain't about that. It ain't about that. Now we had nothing to do with the show no more. So we don't care what happens with it and anything else. We moving on. We haven't really been talking about them. So we can care less. But when this came around and you could see that this is a black woman being harassed and threatened by a black man, somebody who I had respected in Brandon Jennings, to send that in a message saying that you're going to have your woman beat up another black woman and threaten her. I've lost all respect for you. But Underdog Fantasy didn't want to fire you. They wanted to keep you around, even though you did everything that was clear violation to being fired and terminated for a toxic work environment. To say that to a co-star that you're going to have them attacked if they show up on work premises and they only get sent home for the day. The only reason he wasn't fired is because he had locked in the deal with Steph Curry. They had the Steph Curry interview locked in. They didn't want to lose that. We had an interview with Steph Curry. We can't lose that. So he was more valuable to Underdog Fantasy than an employee who's being threatened under poor work conditions, unsafe work environment. Now, if black men won't stand up for black women, who else is to do it? We always talk about black women, man. They always want to act like men. They don't want to act like women. Well, that's because black men ain't acting like black men. They're not defending. And she thought, well, Gil's here. Gil's got my back. He's gonna stand up for me. He's gonna put a foot down. But that was her mistake. See, she didn't know Gil is not a man. He is a beta. He's an oversized boy. And Josiah, he's just a daddy's boy, waste of space. He's useless. So of course he ain't gonna do anything. So you're in a situation where all of these people that came along, right, all these people are wrong when the same things she's saying about you is the same things we've said about you? All these months later, it comes right back around full circle. So, how is that on us? Mm. Oh, he's in a lot of hot water. Oh, yeah, I didn't make this video for views. It's not about views. This about getting the word out to the people. The people will see it when they see it. They want to see it. They come on my page, they'll see it. But one thing we gonna do is stand up for a black woman who's being misused and being abused and victimized as she was, to feel unsafe and threatened to even arrive in LA because it's so unsafe in that work environment when someone like Brandon Jennings, as she said, in her own words, is around. And I thought he was like a stand-up dude. It really rubbed me the wrong way. And Rashad McCants, his actions, it's pathetic. But this is what me and Kwame was talking about, because as you guys know, because you've seen Gil interact with us for the past 2 years and you've seen his behavior, and it's not good. So, well, he plays both sides of the fence. He plays like he's your friend, but right behind your back, he's dumping on you. So what he's telling Miko one thing, and she's thinking that's what it is because she thinks he's a stand-up guy like Kenyon Martin. No, he's not. He's going behind her back, talking about her like a dog. Why can't she just sit there and look good? Hmm. Tried to help these guys, man. And now everything comes back full circle. It's extremely unprofessional. No one should have to endure those type of situations and work conditions. Shout out to Entirely NBA. They did the interview with Miko. Absolutely. Um, I'm just was I mean, of course, when you're able to take a man's girl, that means she was very easily to be taken. If I'm all the way in Chicago and I'm able to take your girl in LA from Chicago, you ain't doing something right. Look good for her age. She's only 40. Yeah, I mean, everything about what he did here was chump. He lied as he always does. Um, he manipulates as he always does. tried to manipulate even in this situation, and she was trying to explain to Gilbert what's going on. Like, Gil, like, you gonna allow this? You gonna let this go on? And he's trying to say, oh, the producers, the producers, the producers. We thought this was Gil's arena, not the producers' arena. Or you're just a hired help, and it's really their show. We're starting to see something now. Oh, she's 48? Oh, Jesus. Oh, yeah, she is 48. Well, yeah, she does look good for her age. But I will let Miko tell you more than just letting me speak on it. Let's hear from Miko so you guys can get a clear understanding. And yes, I love the way she dressed. That boy's stupid. You can get 10,000 for each boob, 2,000 views for each boob. They are stupid people. I wouldn't have messed that up. I wouldn't have messed that up at all.
Your dick hard, to grow your hair back. Like, these are things that I'm against. I don't, all publicity is good publicity, basically, is what I was told that he's on there for. And friends about it and everything, and they were just like, do it. Like, it's Gil. Like, he's not gonna play you. Like all these other people did. He's not gonna do you dirty. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. This is my people. Fuck it. I'll do it. So I joined the show in April. And here we are.
Was it just like that vibe that he was selling to you when he was talking to you, or did it just always start off kind of shaky?
Oh no, it was exactly as advertised. I was having the time of my life. I was able to be myself. I invented what we call Titty Tuesday. I was the only, and I found out I was the only girl on the show. I was like, oh, I gotta give some titties. I just wanted it to. I didn't want to be a basic sports reporter, have a suit on, or I wanted to give feminine energy on the show with so much dick. And I was just like, we need some estrogen, And he allowed that. He was like, yes. He goes, I love what you're wearing. I love what you're doing.
Of course, he loved it. As he knew, as I told him in the DMs, I said, as long as y'all got a showcase, I'm like, y'all are stupid. Remember, I used to give him updates on how to do the show? And oh, yeah, she's proud of her babies. And I am too. Remember, I used to give him advice when he was doing the show? And well, you guys probably don't remember, but we used to advise him. And I said, y'all got this woman right here with these two cannons fully loaded, and she's on y'all show, and you are not featuring her on the thumbnail the way she should be featured on the thumbnail. You would get 10,000 views in the live stream alone for each boob. That's what I told him. Like, you are a fool. And next thing you know, they started putting her in every thumbnail. She was popping up in there. She was on every short that they would do, showcasing what? Those cannons. She's very outspoken, so she doesn't like mince any words. She let it fly.
And I love it all. Like, you're bringing sex appeal, but you're also, your shit. Like, it was going great. Everything was going really good until I how do I say this? I found out that Rashad McCann was wearing fake Jordans.
So we'll get to that in a second. What was the experience like with everyone else when you first started? So obviously, talk about Gil. He was, you guys were hand in hand in that, and everything was seeming to go great. But what was the experience like with Rashad and then Brandon and Kenny didn't come until really later? But what was that experience like for you?
Well, as I said, I've known Brandon for a very long time. Brandon and I had a very, very strong friendship for a lot of years. And then we had an incident that I don't really want to speak on, but we ended our friendship. And so when I decided to do the show, I was like, okay, I'm going to run into Brandon. And so the very first day that I was on set was with Brandon, and I walked up to him and I said, the last time, we spoke, it was beef. Is it beef? And he was like, no, it's over with. I'm moved past it. We're working. Let's go. Let's do this show. It's gonna be good. We dapped up, acted like the beef never happened, and we were working great together. Me and Brandon were back like it was when we were fucking BFFs. It was great.
Yeah.
I didn't know Rashad McCann. I didn't even know him as a basketball player. I always thought that I knew he played in the NBA, but I thought it was like maybe 1 year. I didn't know anything about him. The only thing I remember about him was that he dated Khloe Kardashian. That was
Now,
it.
Right.
I had no, after UNC, I had no information about him whatsoever.
now, let's stop there. Rashad McCants. Who's doing the thumbnails for the show? You know who was doing the thumbnails for the show? Oh, the crackhead. Oh yeah, he called up the crack man, and crack man delivered. But yeah, forget that crack man. Let's get to this because this needs to be said and definitely need to be showcased. Let's get into the gist of what just really happened here that mostly everybody's going to miss what she just said. Khloe Kardashian. This dude was dating Khloe Kardashian. Let that sink in. Not Kim, not Courtney. Khloe. That's like the low tier Kardashian. That's slumming it. That's just saying you got a Kardashian. That's really slumming it. Khloe. You want to date Frankenberry? Gosh. I say that because you're going to find out why as this story continues.
Nothing.
What was your time like with Rashad? So, I mean, what was the atmosphere like? What was the temperature up until that Jordan moment? I know it got worse after that, but was it at least okay until that point?
No.
Mm.
I didn't like that his sports IQ was so low. I didn't like that. I didn't understand why he was on the show. I would
Mhm.
ask Gilbert constantly, like, why he was there. And it was relayed to me that everybody needs a guy like him. We need clicks. He brings ratings. The stupid things that he says, it gets people to click on it, and talk shit. Even if people don't realize it, just talking shit about him gives people ratings. Like when you click and you type in this motherfucker is so stupid, why would he say da-da-da-da-da? You're generating buzz for the show, and all publicity is good publicity, basically, is what I was told that he's on there for. And it was bothering me because I'm sitting here thinking to myself, like, I don't want to be a part of something like that. Like I want true journalists. I even questioned Brandon being on the show. Brandon brings nothing to the show either. He doesn't even talk really. If it's not about tough crowd or Steph Curry or the Bucks, he doesn't have pretty much anything to bring to the conversation.
Wow. And I said the same thing. Didn't I say the show sucks? And everybody thought I was capping. Everybody thought I was the worst thing on the planet because I said the show sucked. Y'all remember that? I was public enemy number one because I said the show sucked and the people on the show sucked. But Rashad McCants was gold. He was ratings bonanza. He was prime time. Nobody said he's the most intelligent man in the world, but like he said, they knew what I said. He brings the ratings. But what she needs to be, what she's not really honing in on yet, is where the real problem is. The real problem ain't with Brandon Jennings, and she's right. Brandon Jennings has absolutely zero he adds to the show. But what he adds to the show is the guest list. They wouldn't have any guests if it wasn't for Brandon. Brandon Jennings is the one that brings these guests on the show. So that's what he adds to the show. But he's right. Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. Besides Steph Curry, the Bucks, and tough crowd, what does he really add to the show? He doesn't even talk the majority of the time, which is true. That is very factual. Well, she's going to bring up another fact I said. Gil can't get guests on the show. He can't get people on the show. She brought that up. Everything that I said that was factual is actually coming full circle. Full circle. No, Gil got funny stories. See, the thing about Gil is he has funny stories. When he's telling the stories, they're funny. Like they're entertaining. He's good at that. Where he lacks is that the show lacks what you would say tack, right? It lacks that tack. It's very tacky. It's sloppy. It's just something thrown together to say, let's get some money. And he now just when he starts saying stuff just for clickbait and click views to make a short, he needs to have a Gil moment where he just says something incredibly stupid and everybody just follows suit. See, what Miko hasn't honed in yet, and as she's telling the story, she's not realizing the person that doesn't need to be on the show is actually Gil. But you kind of can't have a show without him. But yeah, him talking less is great. If he's not telling a story, he don't need to talk. Let them do the talking. Let your guests do the talking because your other co-hosts and you just chime in. Because when you start trying to lead a conversation, you start going way beyond into the abyss of stupidity with these topics. And Josiah, what is his job and role? He should be a producer. Like Gil even admits he knows Josiah is terrible at what he does because all he is the moderator, right? And he's reading off the laptop and pulling stuff up. You got guys in your ear that can tell you that. Okay, you got producers on this show. You have everybody here from Underdog Fantasy doing what they're supposed to do. Josiah could be off the camera. Okay, because why do you need people focusing on you and Josiah? Or is it really Josiah's show too? He's a producer of the show. So it's you and him because you can't carry the weight. That's what it shows. You can't carry this show. So bring in Josiah. All he's doing is reading stuff off Twitter and saying, what topics are they talking about on Twitter? And let's throw them on the show because it's already trending. So okay, that's trending. So let's use that topic. It's so stupid and lazy. Lazy. This is what we mean about a good show and a bad show. And the fact that Gil doesn't even go back and watch his other episodes, he told us in the interview we did with him. Gilbert told me he only disrespected Isaiah to piss off Brandon Jennings. So that's what he said. But Isaiah was going to come on the show because Brandon Jennings is the only one that could get Isaiah Thomas to come on the show. No one moves for Gil. Gil can't get anyone on the show. Matt Barnes is his best friend. Why Matt Barnes ain't been on the show? You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. Hey, I can't take something that didn't want to be took. Hey, let that sink in. I can't take nothing that didn't want to be took. She was not happy there, so it is what it is.
But again, I realized after talking to Gilbert that he was struggling to get people on the show, consistently. And they were available. Of course, they're available. They're not talented.
That's
Damn. Okay.
that's
Okay.
wild. I mean, because I would assume with being a name like Gil, like everybody knows who Gil is, like we said earlier. So it's like it's weird that like what else did he do off the court or off the cameras that is building that tension where people didn't feel comfortable to come on the show? You know what I'm saying? Like that's pretty wild.
Yeah, I didn't understand either. I honestly thought Gil could get anybody on that show. But what I think I learned being on the show is that Gilbert, his opinions are like mine sometimes. It's hard to take. And some people might be scared to come on the show. Some people might not like some of the things that he might say, or maybe he said some things about them in the past, because this isn't his first show.
What's funny about that?
And what's funny about that is a very good way to segue into it. And that is correct. What's funny about that and what's not funny about that is there's a very good answer for that situation. Gil can't get guests on the show because don't nobody really deal with Gil. He's bad for business. He's been trying to clear his name and clear his rep for a very long time. Nobody wants to deal with him. So he's been kind of ostracized. Nobody is thinking, oh, do we really need Gil for this? Or how can we do this with Gil? Or we can't do this with Gil. Nobody cares. They're not caring. See, Gilbert problem is essentially he doesn't know how to control his own show. He delegates everything to everybody else. So now it's the producer's fault. The producer was supposed to take care of that. And now, if you're Underdog Fantasy, by you having all of these producers on this show, and you're a sponsor to this show, by this black woman being disrespected in this workplace, and she complained to you about it, and you chose to allow it to go on and not handle the situation and make the work environment and continually worsen to the point where threats were made. You had the threats and chose to let the woman leave the show and not reprimand the male who she didn't feel safe around, the person who actually made a threat to physically bodily harm a female on the show over their own views, not even about them. To me, that was the most egregious thing I probably have ever seen, like, in business, period, for a black man to say he finna do that to a black woman over something that has nothing to do with him, period. It's the weakest thing I've ever seen. And for that to come from Brandon Jennings, it was shocking to me. That part shocked me. Everything else about Gil, she's just discovering. So for her, this is a real her Gil moment, her realization into what Gilbert Arenas really is.
That is, I know we're in a tough spot right now. That's what got us here, as far as you and Gil, right? But obviously, I've been covering that show for a very long time for Entirely NBA, and I will say that the dynamic that you two have is well beyond those of the other co-hosts. So yes, Rashad's there for clicks, Brandon's there for maybe the connections with Steph and tough crowd and et cetera, et cetera. But between you and Gil, you can clearly see that you are both well educated in terms of not only sports but people in general, right? Because you have to have that emotional intelligence to be able to see what type of emotions and thinking goes into certain decisions when it comes to basketball or certain actions, or whatever it may be, right? So I always said to myself, God damn, if it was just really those two leading it, what would that show really become? So I say that to also say, loved what you guys did together. The other person that I love on that show is obviously Kenyon. So what's your relationship like with Kmart?
Kenyon, oh, I love him. He is the epitome of a man, you know.
Yeah.
And I had to bring a situation to Kenyon that I didn't think he remembered. Of course, he didn't, but I had a
Kenyon Martin is the epitome of a man. Did you hear that? The epitome of a man. Miko was the worst host on the show. Why would she be the worst co-host on the show? Do you know what she was working with? How could she be? I'm looking at her right now, and she looks like she was the best thing on the show right now. I don't watch the show because it's terrible. That's why. But Underdog Fantasy, they're allowing this to transpire. They're the producers of this. They have acknowledgement on it. So they're liable, just like Gil's Arena. They're all liable. When you tell somebody there's a problem and you say, "Oh well, we talked to them, it's gonna be okay," and it's consistently happening, then that means whatever you did didn't work, and it's worsening, and you're not fixing the problem. hmm So she's already admitted they had trouble getting guests on the show, right? He couldn't get guests to come on his show, and he's Gilbert Arenas, and they can't get guests on the show. Every other podcast who had less appeal, less views than Gil's show, they got a guest every week. Every week there's a guest on the show. Gilbert Arenas can't get the ball boy. He can't get the general manager. He can't get nobody on the show. Brandon Jennings, they got to go through his catalog or phone book to try to get on the show. So now he done did this deal with He's got the NBA thing where the NBA is going to clear him to show clips where they can, show the things where he can break down and analyze the plays. He basically saw my videos where I break down the game and try to tell people what happened and said, oh, I could do that better. I'm going to do what Carcino just did. No, the two best people on the show was Kenyon Martin and Miko. Rashad McCants was good for being Rashad McCants. You didn't need him to know anything about anything. Just let him be Rashad McCants, and he's going to generate hits and clicks. That's just what he does. So you got to roll with that and be cool with him. No, she found out for the first time who's Gilbert Arenas. She probably didn't know, but she knows now.
Running with Kenyon way back in the day where his security physically beat up me and my girlfriend in a club. Well, not beat us up, but slammed us to the ground in the club because they thought we were trying to get to Kenyon's section. But reality, my girlfriend was drunk and being stupid. And they kind of like manhandled us in the club. And obviously it wasn't Kenyon's fault, but his security did that. And so when I got on the show, I was like, do you remember this incident in the club? And blah, blah, blah. And I was telling him about it. He was just like, oh my God, that was you. And I'm like, yeah. But he was always a class act. He even with my first time having him be on the show with him, he told me that after the show, he was like, I had no idea that you were this smart. I had no idea that you had this kind of information. He goes, I'm doing my own show soon. I'd be interested in talking to you about being a co-host on my show. And I was like, really? And he was like, yeah. He goes, well, once I, figure everything out, we can talk about that. He goes, but I really respect your IQ and everything. And I was like, thank you. And he's just a nice guy. His IQ is high, and he's no bullshit. I love that about him. He's no bullshit, but he's also smart,
Obviously, just like you described, Kenyon, is the way that we see him from afar over here.
Sure.
I'm sure you guys converse after every show or have some type of group chat. What the hell does Kenyon say about some of these antics that happen between you, Rashad, and Brandon?
Kenyon is not in the group chat.
He seemed like the laid back type. Like he's just coming to do his job. Figure out what he can do and go back home. That's what he seemed like.
He had no idea of some of the things that I was going through until I actually told him.
All right. So then if that's not something Kenyon knew, then tell me about the experiences you would have, at least bringing this up with these guys off camera. Was there any instances that you could talk about that you had with Brandon or Rashad after show hours that you could speak on?
We would have situations where we'd be in the group chat trying to brainstorm or think about doing a show earlier, or like, oh, we're going to do a game today, so we need to come in at this time and that time. And Rashad would not be responding in the group chat. And so people will be like, yo, text him outside. Somebody call him and tell him he needs to get in here. We need to, coordinate this or whatever, right? And there'll be hours that would go by that he wouldn't respond. And so then he would come into the group chat like, oh, I'm so sorry. I was just fucking these 3 exotic bitches. One was sucking my toes. One had my dick in her mouth. One
Yeah, she has no filter. All we do is sue each other. All these white shows say and treat women like that, and they eat it up. Gil is getting great numbers with the thousands in the chat. I don't get it. Well, if you was over here, OG, you would get it. OG, let me tell you, the numbers are fake. Okay? What they do is they hire and promote to push this show, push their show to make it appear that they're getting all of this traffic, that they're buying the traffic, they're buying the views, they're pushing the promoter. And Gil was even on the show, and I interviewed him, and he came on our platform, and he bragged about having 16 million views. I got 16 million views and got 44,000 followers. Now, if you had 16 million views and you got 44,000 subscribers, 40,000 subscribers. That's like 0.03%. It's 99.7% fake traffic. So that means you have to push 16 million views just to get 40,000 subscribers. You know how crazy that is? That's bot city. See, one thing you can't fake is the reality. See, the risk, y'all just see those numbers and it looks pretty when you're on the outside looking in. Looks real pretty, look like they doing really big things. But when you start to read those comments in the comment section and seeing how fake those people are who are leaving comments, and you read comments on the show, why do you think this not monetized? You guys could super chat over here. You can't super chat over there. You see a super thank button over here, right? Can you super thank over there? Nope. And you know why you can't? Fake traffic. Because they're pushing so much fake traffic through there that if they tried to monetize it, it would get burnt down to a crisp. So they're not going to monetize that. Yeah, we exposed that already. Right to his face.
I was like, what?
Oh
Like,
shit.
what are
Yeah,
you talking about? Like, we're in the work group chat, you know? Like, why would we need to know that?
Right.
And
Yeah.
so I was the only person that would address it. I would be like, yo, what the fuck? Like, what is this? And he did it constantly. And I would always say something like, Rashad, no one cares. I said, did you know the men that talk about all the pussy they're getting are getting none?
Yep.
So Rashad McCants did a move that I have not seen in a long time. According to her, most of the guys who talk like that and use this type of attitude and energy are dudes who are trying to impress a girl because they like the girl. And they thinking talking like this is going to get the girl interested in them.
Don't get none.
You know, and then he would always talk about the girls being exotic. And I'd be like, what do you mean exotic? And he's like, yeah, I don't fuck with black bitches. I only fuck exotic bitches. And I was like, what's more exotic than a black girl?
Yeah.
And he would just always saying this stupid shit, and it would get on my nerves. And then he would start saying disrespectful things to me, like he was making up nicknames for me that were like kind of like sexist or disrespectful, like just kind of coming at me, like saying stupid shit all the time. And I would talk to the producers and like, yo, like tell him to chill, like shut up. So Gil made a separate group chat for just us, the co-hosts. Like, yo, you guys aren't supposed to be talking to the white men in the group chat like this. Like, y'all save all the other shit for over here. You know, and I'll just be like,
Now, that was Gil's whole thing, was saying, don't talk to the producers. Why y'all talking to the producers? Stay over here and do it. How low down is that? That's ridiculous. Rashad McCants is a clown. It's weirdo. It's weirdo activity. It's weirdo, right, behavior. Talking about he don't talk to black women. You dating Frankenberry. that you were dating Khloe Kardashian. What's exotic about her? Because she looked like Frankenberry. She just missing the bolts off her neck. They just took that off.
Yo, what's wrong with you? And so Brandon and Gil told me that Rashad wasn't doing any of that talk, being disrespectful, being crazy until I came on the show. And they were telling me like, oh, we think he likes you. And I'm like, why would he like me when he just said he doesn't like black girls? They're like, he must be trying to impress you by telling you how much pussy he's getting because he never once had this type of energy in the group chat until we put you in there.
Now, yep, exactly. Right. You keep bouncing around here with Frankenberry and and talking about exotic women. If you dating Khloe Kardashian, you can't talk to nobody. She had to settle for crackhead Lamar Odom. Like he was doing crack. That was the only reason he was with Khloe. Anybody who's dating Khloe, I'm just like, are you serious? What is going on? You trying to get to the Kardashian? That was the only route you could take was Khloe. Y'all done bumped y'all heads.
That's right.
And I was just like, okay, like whatever. It was just weird. And I was constantly asking him to stop. I was, and then it got to the point where he would say little slick shit to me when we were off camera, just being super disrespectful. And it got to the point where the producers had to say something to him. Like he got a warning about how he was talking to me.
So Rashad McCants got a warning. Let that sink in. Rashad McCants got a warning. You saying shouts out to the silicone. So y'all saying she's not real? She's all silicone. Huh? Okay. Rashad McCants is slow. Of course, he's just a basketball player. Look, this dude tried to blow the whistle on the entire UNC. Okay, UNC basketball. He tried to blow up the entire program. Exactly. Dude was acting thirsty. That's my man, Will Allen. Oh, for sure, for sure. Kim, just as bad, probably got millions. Yeah. See, that's the problem. It's so easy for everybody to sit there and go after Gil for all the stuff he did in the past, all the stuff that he's done. She has never, because she hasn't been online. She ain't seeing all his activity on this low tier sites he be going on. Oh, never bet the tournament games. Tournament games is what you should never bet on. I can't believe I won the other night though. No, don't bet on the tournament. The tournament will have you like you'll be seeing the craziest scores craziest moments. He tried to buy her. Yeah, the thing is his thing is he tried to get her to shut up and be quiet, and you shouldn't have got a lawyer. Why she shouldn't have got a lawyer? She needed to get a lawyer. She did the right thing. If she was being discriminated against, why not get a lawyer? I had nothing to do with it. She had contempt for the whole show. You already knew Miko had contempt for the whole show. Her energy wasn't needed. We had nothing to do with it. I saw that there was a problem on the show. I stayed out of it. I said, when I saw Miko start doing her own podcast show, and once I saw that, I said, whoa, she's doing her own like YouTube podcast thing. I was like, that's different, because it came on my timeline. And I've subscribed to her page and everything. And I watched her with Cam's, not Cam, look at me, Joe Smith, wife on the show. And then I said, wait a minute, what is she doing over here? Why she ain't on Gil's Arena? Then I started to see it, and I saw what happened, and I saw they brought another black girl in for the new season. And I said, ooh, okay. Once Rich Paul came on the show, they got a new couch. They got a new everything after Rich Paul came and got on that dirty couch that used to be upstairs in Gil's living room. So now they got new furniture, new floor. They done put some money into it. And they had Steph Curry on the show. Now, Miko did her wrong. Now, let's let this play out.
But again, I hate that I even brought all that up because, to be honest with you, we squashed it. We squashed it. We moved on. Then the shoe thing happened.
Hey, talk about that real quick.
I didn't even know that he had a shoe line, that he had a clothing line. I didn't know any of that. Like, I swear to you, I did not know that. And I think it's because I didn't watch the show before I came on. I watched like maybe 3 episodes in the whole 4 months it was on. I was living my life. I'm doing shit. I play tennis. I'm a mom. Like, I have shit going on. So I wasn't really watching the show. So maybe I would have known that this was all his clothing line, his clothes, his shoes, everything was all his shit. So when the situation took place with the shoe, I didn't know I was disrespecting him. I really thought that he just had bad fashion and that he was cheap. So I didn't know that the things I was saying was disrespecting his actual brand. Because had I known that, I would have never said what I said. I'm not I'm not here to destroy people or to like shit on, what they're trying to accomplish, especially a black man. I would never have done that, right? I'm just sitting here looking at my favorite Jordans. I got married in Jordan 11s, okay? My wedding pictures are in Jordan 11s. So when I looked at the shoe, I could tell it's a fake. But it wasn't me. Like, I don't know why everybody's blaming me. Josiah is the one that asked the question. The chat is going on live. Josiah's watching, the producers are watching. They fed that into us for us to talk about his shoes. So everybody there knew that this was his clothing line, that was his shoe brand. And they brought it in. I didn't know. So I didn't know.
So you hear what she said. Don't forget to follow her YouTube page, which is iHeart Miko. And this interview is on entirely NBA for those who want to check it out. Well, here's the thing. When you get through hearing what she has to say, then you can make your decision on who should be sued and who shouldn't.
Know that I'm attacking a man's brand. And he just kept trying to act like they weren't fake. And that was bothering me that he kept trying to act like they weren't fake. So that's why I kept going, like, no, my nigga, those are fake. And not only that, that's not Burberry. That's a fake knockoff Burberry pattern as well. Like, what are you doing? Like, just own it. If you wear something fake, own it. I wear fake shit. Girls wear fake jewelry, fake everything all the time. Who gives a fuck? If that's what you want, that's what you want. But don't try to lie about it. Because when the lie happened, that's why I kept going. Because I'm like, nah, my nigga, you're not going to sit here and lie in my face. Yeah. So then after the show was over and how I realized how upset he was, I went to Brandon Gilbert and I was like, why is he so upset that I said something about his fake shoes? Like, doesn't he know that they're fake? Like, did he get hustled? Like, you could buy something that's fake and you didn't know? Right. And they were like, no, that's his brand. He made those. And I was like, what? He made fake Jordans and fake Burberry? He, like, on purpose did that? And they were like, yeah. And they were laughing about it. And I was like, okay, so why does he wear those clothes? And they were like, that's his clothing line. And I'm like, what? And I was like, so you guys are his friend. Like, you guys have been on this show this whole time. Why don't you guys talk to him about, getting, like, help him out, Brandon? You got a clothing line? Like, help him out, like, so he's better. And they were just like, nope, we're just going to let him keep wearing that bullshit. That's what he want to wear. That's on him. And I'm like, I wish you guys would have told me. I would have never went at him like that had I known that was his. I would have backed off. I would have just stayed away from it. So I feel like it was, like, intentional. Like, they wanted me to do that.
That's crazy. That's crazy. You would have had me hot too. I'm not gonna lie. You would have had me hot too. I mean, but you didn't know in your defense. Look, he says a bad business decision.
Bad business decision. That's wild.
Yeah, that is.
You don't wear knock knock J's. You can't wear knock knock J's. That just doesn't work out. Like,
don't work out.
There's too many people that know about J's to wear knock knock J's.
Knock. Yeah. Okay. That was one of those last straws. I remember seeing that episode, and then after that, it was kind of just subtle knocks. You can kind of tell in the mannerisms when you would speak. It'd be like, why is she at this point? Why is she talking? But,
yeah. He didn't want me on the show. I need to say this. I approached him, first of all, 4 times since that shoe incident and attempted to apologize to him face to face, like a grown-up. He pretty much told me to fuck off every single time. Because I could tell that he was coming at me after that because of the shoe thing. And I would come up to him like, Rashad, can we hug it out? Can we dap it out? I'm sorry. I didn't know. I will never speak on it again. I didn't know. And he just like, get the fuck out of my face. Fuck away from me. Like, rude. And I was just like, I can't even win. I was like, fuck it. Like, then I guess this is beef the rest of the show then. Because like I tried to apologize. And I would tell Gil and them, I told the producers, like, I keep trying to apologize to him. He won't accept my apology. He just keeps telling me to fuck off and get the fuck out of his face. What am I supposed to do?
You said it earlier. I mean, you did your part. You can only do your part now. You know what I'm saying? That if he doesn't receive what your apology or accept the apology, now I mean, you did
Now, these must be some people she know. I've never seen these entirely NBA people, but definitely they did an interview and support them because this is their channel. That's their interview. They did it, even though we're critiquing. He said, anger with boobies. Now, no, Rashad is very thin-skinned. This goes along with his entire behavior in the NBA, when he was in college, when everything, he was very confrontational. Extremely confrontational all the time. So he's a little off, which led him out of the NBA quicker than he should have been. He should have had a very longer career in the NBA. I'm just saying, he was good enough to be in the NBA.
your part. Like, and nothing you can do after that.
Yeah. I mean, and so I just said, fuck it. And I guess we just gonna go at it because you're already having bad takes. And I was trying to be nice and not, come at him every time you had a bad take. But after that, now every time you say something stupid, I'm gonna tell you that it's stupid. And I'm gonna tell you why. And that's kind of became the thing. And Gilbert was like, I love it when you guys go at it. Oh man, this is so good. Keep going. I'm like, you love it, but I'm the one that's getting shit on. I'm the one that's getting disrespected and keep saying like I don't belong on the show. Like I don't belong here. Like why is he allowed to say that? And he was just like, just ignore him, just keep going out, just keep going back. And Gilbert loved that type of shit. He loves drama. He loved it.
Was there any? So that's on camera.
See? So Gil's throwing the gas on the fire. Right there. Like she said. Gil loved it. So he was throwing the gas on the fire. That was him. Nobody else but him.
I'm sure that carries over off too. But was there any validation given by Gilbert just to let the guys know, like, hey, I understand this is what's said on the show, but you also got to understand that she knows what she's talking about? Nothing like that?
Never. And I constantly asked for it, and he just was like, just deal with it. Suck it up. You'll be fine. You can take it.
I got you. Okay. I mean, I have no doubt that you can. I know it's still something that you shouldn't have to deal with 100%. And so that led to, I mean, some more turmoil. But then obviously the 100th episode came up, which you didn't really know that you weren't on it until someone had to tell you weren't on that sizzle. How did it feel? One, being left off the 100th episode celebration, and then two, what was that conversation like? Because I'm sure you brought it up.
So we have to go back. We have to talk about the elephant, because I feel like a lot of people think that the issue and the reason that I'm not on this show is because me and Rashad were beefing and I couldn't handle it. And that Rashad has nothing to do with why I'm not on Gil's Arena. Yes, he's an asshole. Yes, he disrespects me all the time, but he is not the reason I'm not on the show. The reason I'm not on the show is August 9th. There was an episode where Rashad McCants asked if he could do a shout out. And the shout out was for cigars. And so we're like, yeah, what's your shout out? And this is the same episode where we got into it about the whole who the leader should be.
Mm-hmm.
That whole episode, that's the episode where all this shit happened. Brandon was not on the show. Okay. So I'm told after the fact that Brandon asked if Karl Malone could be on the show. The producer said no, because Karl Malone's a pedophile.
Now, the producer had said no. Listen. Now, I don't agree with their take on Karl Malone, but this was a producer's decision. This wasn't a Miko decision. The producers said no. They just agreed. Now, listen to this.
Okay. I'm guessing that Brandon gave Rashad Karl Malone cigars that he wanted to promote. So Rashad decides to promote the cigars on the show. As he's giving this shout out, Gilbert and I are both cutting him off, basically calling Karl Malone a pedophile.
Mm-hmm.
Right? As this is happening, Brandon is clearly watching the show from home, and he's texting in the work group chat saying, Miko, you got a problem with Karl Malone? And I'm, we're able to be on our phone during the show, and I see the group, and I'm looking, and I just threw a thumbs up in there to that text, like, yes, I got a problem with a pedophile, duh, right? I put my phone down, I don't look at my phone the rest of the show, but it's going off, So we do the whole show, the whole leadership happens, I got titties, that moment happened, of him telling me because I didn't play in the WNBA, my opinion is invalid. Gilbert, getting his chips and egging it on, loving it like he always does. And so when we get off the show, me and Rashad dap like we always do. We beef on the show, we talk shit, we get into it, but we dapped. I have no problem with Rashad outside of him just having a low IQ and being, a fucking dumbass.
Now, I don't agree with that take with Karl Malone, but this is not about me. We'll get to that at another time because we don't know what the situation was with Karl Malone that led to that situation when he had a kid. He had a kid with a girl who was 14. But it's not like he had a row of girls that were underage and he was continuously going after children or something. You know, that's a completely different situation. But the producers did not want to put him on the show. Once again, she said the word producers. Okay, so that means Underdog Fantasy did not want Karl Malone on the show. Let's continue.
I leave as soon as the show's over. I'm out. I leave immediately. I got shit to do. I leave. I get in my car. I look at the text message in the group chat, and I see that Brandon is threatening me in the group chat, telling me that his girlfriend is gonna basically beat my ass tomorrow on the show. He didn't say those exact words, but that's what he said.
Yeah.
I asked him. I said, "Is Gilbert getting beat up too?" Because I wasn't the only person calling him a pedophile. Why aren't you threatening Gilbert? What's up? It wasn't just me. It was Gilbert. And all he kept saying is, "Oh, okay. Yeah. Yep. It's on. It's on. I see what it is. It's on. Can't wait till tomorrow. Can't wait till tomorrow." And I'm like, "Are you really threatening me in the work group chat?" And he goes, "You can call it whatever you want. But if you played a stupid game, now you're going to get a stupid prize."
Yep, that is something we've heard on episodes after that. That is a quote that we've heard. I think it's exactly what play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
Yes, that was attack at me. Every time you heard that, they're talking about me. Rashad started to repeat it as well. Play stupid games, win stupid prize. So it was like a threat to me. And so when this happened, I called the producers. I was crying because, again, I know Brandon. I know him. And without telling anything else, I felt threatened. I was worried for my life. I was worried that I was going to be harmed. So I called the producers and I told them that I thought Brandon should be fired. At the very least, suspended for threatening me at work.
What happened after that?
I was told by the producers that they were going to, I guess, suspend him from the show the next day. I said, I didn't want to do the show at all. I wanted to quit. And Gilbert was calling me, telling me to apologize to Brandon. I was like, why do I have to apologize to him? He was like, because you disrespected Karl Malone, who is family to him. And I.
So, threatening a woman over Karl Malone, not even about himself. She didn't even say anything about him. And he's freaking out over Karl Malone. Karl Malone, you're threatening a woman over Karl Malone. That was the most disappointing thing I've ever heard. I've lost so much respect for Brandon Jennings. Just off that alone. You're threatening to have your girlfriend beat up somebody else over that fact. This is pathetic. It's sad, y'all. It really is, because for years we sit there and we go, man, we need to move forward. We need to do this. We need to get this done. We need to get that done. We always try to find the right way to move forward. But Gilbert is wanting a woman to apologize for being threatened by another coworker at the job. When she says, "I don't feel safe, I know this man," and like she don't feel safe. Like she's like, "I know Brandon Jennings, so I don't feel safe." And this dude talking about he finna have his woman jump her and beat her up over Karl Malone, because he ain't even on the show. He at home typing in because he don't like the way they talking about Karl Malone. But he ain't got no smoke for Gil. And Gil saying the exact same thing. Why is that? Because this is a dude that seems like he likes to fight women. Unmanly.
I said, he's a pedophile. And Gil's like, I know, but I had to apologize too. So you just apologize. I said, no, why did you apologize? He goes, because I want my show. Because I don't want this to ruin my show. I need my show. So just apologize so we can move on, so we can move past this. I said, you want me to apologize to somebody that threatened me? And he was like, yes. And I said, I will not apologize. He was like, well, I'm going to tell him to apologize to you too. And the apology came in and it had a butt in it. When you apologize, you don't butt. And Brandon also told me I needed to apologize. And I'm like, I never responded to the apology. And I felt unsafe.
Yeah, you unsafe because they ganging up on you. Now, this is why when someone was like, well, why is Gil involved in it? Now you see why Gil's involved in it. Not only is it his show, he brought Miko there. And he's forcing a woman who's been insulted by somebody. She's been completely insulted and threatened by a co-host, and you want her to just suck it up and come back and sit down with the person that was just threatening her. She said, I don't feel safe. And you think of it like it's a joke. Hmm? We don't know the situation with Karl Malone, so we can label him as that, right? According to the situation, he was in a club, and she was in a club, and she got in the club at 14. We don't know what she looked like. She could have passed for other woman. We don't know what that situation was, but that's the story they're flying with. That everybody's in the cancel culture business, so attack Karl Malone is all they know. It's not like he has a history of this behavior. That's what I'm saying. So now that you see the situation is playing out the way it is, you're starting to notice and seeing behavioral problems, wondering why Underdog Fantasy is not taking responsibility for this. Why Gilbert Arenas is not taking this more seriously. It's his show. That's all I'm saying is that it's his show. This is Gil's show. It says Gil's Arena, not Brandon Jennings' arena, not Rashad McCant's arena. Gil's Arena. See, Kenyon Martin is trying to get his own show. He don't want nothing to do with Gil. He's just there to do his job and leave. He don't want to be in no chat with these people. He just want to get his job, do his thing, and go. He's professional. He a grown man. In other words, he's the only one being a man on the show. Everybody else being boys. Mm-hmm. Where's TMZ? Where's the Breakfast Club? Where those people at? They don't care. Nah, they didn't care. Underdog fantasy, they don't care. They know what time it is. They don't care. They know what they're doing.
And so I told the producers, I said, if you guys have Brandon on the show with me ever again, I'm gonna sue you guys for unsafe work environment. Because
I'm gonna sue you for unsafe work environment. But being engineers, we couldn't work. She was fired. Now, here's the thing. It's already a toxic work environment. As Miko.
his girl comes to set with him every single show. She's there. And you told me that she's gonna be my ass. And there's nothing inside of me that doesn't believe that Brandon would join into that ass beating.
Wow.
Brandon knows where I live. Brandon is my home with Rashad, outside of him just having a low IQ and being. I told them that I thought Brandon should be fired. At the very least, suspended for threatening me at work.
What happened after that?
I was told by the producers that they were going to, I guess, suspend him from the show the next day. I said, I didn't want to do the show at all. I wanted to quit. And Gilbert was calling me, telling me to apologize to Brandon. I was like, why do I have to apologize to him? He was like, because you disrespected Karl Malone, who is family to him. And I said, he's a pedophile. Right. And Gil's like, I know, but I had to apologize too. So you just apologize. I said, no, why did you apologize? He goes, because I want my show. Because I don't want this to ruin my show. I need my show. So just apologize so we can move on. So we can move past it.
This will ruin my show and I need my show. I need my show. So he don't care about Miko. Brandon Jennings was too valuable to lose. Bro, Gregory, he says, women, y'all don't get it. Women don't watch your show and you add no value by having them on the show. Are you kidding? Bro, are you sick, Gregory? Look at this. Do you see those boobs right there, buddy boy? That's what the value she had on that show. And she was smart. So when you got that going for you on the show, don't add any value. When she was on the show, they were doing 200,000 views. You see the views now? They were fake views, but still 200,000 fake views. Whenever she was on there, oh yeah. When they was using her tatas on the show and those thumbnails, yes. The numbers were tremendous. That's value to me. Absolutely. And believe me, they noticed. And you know, she brought a lot to the table.
I said, you want me to apologize to somebody that threatened me? And he was like, yes. And I said, I will not apologize. He was like, well, I'm going to tell him to apologize to you too. And the apology came in and it had a butt in it. When you apologize, you don't butt. And Brandon also told me I needed to apologize. And I'm like, I never responded to the apology. And I felt unsafe. And so I told the producers, I said, if you guys have Brandon on the show with me ever again, I'm going to sue you guys for unsafe work environment. Because his girl comes to set with him every single show. She's there. And you told me that she's going to be my ass. And there's nothing inside of me that doesn't believe that Brandon would join into that ass beating.
Wow. Let that sink in. She says there's nothing that's inside of me that says Brandon wouldn't join in. Let that sink in. Brandon Jennings would be so stupid enough to attack a coworker who's a female by having another female jump him, and would be stupid enough to join in himself. Now remember, she says, I love this. You know, I love this show. Like, I love this situation. I love it all. This is unbelievable. I can't wait to talk to Miko.
Brandon knows where I live. Brandon knows my home, everything. So I don't feel safe at this point. I'm scared. And so I sent the text message out to my family members just so people could know that this man threatened me and I don't know what to do.
Okay, so at this point now, obviously everyone cast-wise is aware of the situation. The people that promote the show, fund the show, Underdog Fantasy executives know of the situation. He's suspended for...
They're in the chat. In the chat, they saw it. Yeah.
Okay. Wow, so more than aware of the situation. He doesn't come for one episode, and then what happens in the following weeks after that?
So I was on every other week. So I would fly in 2 weeks out of the month. So that was a Wednesday show. So the next day I did the Thursday show. And it was so bad. It was so bad. Like I can't even believe we did that show. Me and Gilbert got into they were counting us down to go live, and me and Gilbert were like damn near nose to nose arguing on set. Yeah. To the point that he yanked his mics off. He's like, I'm not doing the show today. Cancel the show today. Because I was saying to him that I don't fuck with him. I said, I don't fuck with you. You're not my friend. I told Josiah, I don't fuck with you either. You're not my friend. I told all the other black men that were in that group chat that were on set, I don't fuck with none of y'all. You guys saw him threaten me and you said nothing and you did nothing. The reason that I'm at work is because I'm a professional. But hey, Miko, don't hug me. Fuck y'all. Y'all did not have my back. None of y'all checked him. And Gilbert just went crazy. Like he was upset because I was basically saying, I'm gonna do the show, but I don't fuck with you. So we ended up doing the show anyway. Like we kind of calmed down. They took 5 minutes. We both kind of separated, calmed down, and we did the show. I flew back to Florida like I always do. I fly back right after the show back to Florida.
Right. She real about it. Now she realizes Gil ain't I don't deal with you, Josiah. All of these people was in the chat. All of these people were in the chat and they did nothing. Let that set in, people. All of these people were in the chat and they said and did nothing. They allowed her to be victimized and then tried to act like it was going to be cool when they all see each other next. Don't you hate people like that? That have that type of energy? That's crazy. So she dealing with a bunch of beta males that rather fight women, and the other man too scared to speak up, all because they gonna get the Steph Curry interview. That's what this is all about, y'all. Steph Curry interview. Brandon Jennings can bring people on the show. Gil can't get people on the show. They thought Gil had enough pull to get people on the show. Let's go ahead and get this going.
Every week. The next week comes on the shows. And of course, there's just constant play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Only NBA players on this show. Only people that actually played in something that's with the NBA. Only this, only that. Like and I'm texting Gilbert while I'm watching the show saying, why are you letting them do this to me? Why are you letting him say that? You know that's a threat to me. That's stupid. He goes, I don't know, Miko. I'm just not gonna get into it. I'm not getting in it. I said, so you're just gonna allow them to keep threatening me? And my family's watching now. So they saw the screenshots and they're like, oh, he's still threatening you. And I'm like, I know. And they're not doing anything about it. So my family was like, let us beat his fucking ass. And I was like, no, because if you do that, it's gonna look like I asked you to do that. And I didn't. Do not touch this man. Don't touch him. I'm not going to jail for nothing y'all did to him. You have a no from me. I had so many of my male friends asking for my permission to beat Brandon's ass. And I said no every single time.
Woo! Man. Didn't I tell y'all this was going to heat up? Didn't I tell y'all this was going to heat up? You think I'll be up this early doing this? If it wasn't going to get this hot? This should be everywhere this morning, because Underdog Fantasy has to realize that they can't just ignore these problems anymore. They keep trying to put a Band-Aid on things and act like it's just going to get fixed. Yeah, that's how people act. When they think something is over with or done for or what have you, that's how they do it. That's how they react. Yeah, well, when you start seeing this thing play out, you'll get it. Well, I don't see it like that. She never played in the NBA or WNBA. Yeah, this should be everywhere. So now we mad at her credentials. I'm looking at her credentials, and I think she's overly qualified for the job. She was never a problem on the show. She's one of the smartest people on the show. So I'm just like, why do we even care? The show was trash because of everybody else. They didn't know how to make it work. They didn't know how to blend it and make it work. You saw how Pat Bev came there in school and just took him to school. Pat Bev just came there and just made him look silly. Rashad McCants was mad because Pat Bev came and embarrassed him. Yeah. Yeah, well, when you don't see something that's working for you that should be? And you have an opportunity to make something right. I'm sorry, I'm sending out a text message. That's why it's like all this pauses are coming in. Yeah, but the thing is that when you go, imagine you go your homeboy, right? And he asks you to come work for you, and you go there to help him out, and you go there to go work with him. And once you do that, as soon as you get there, right, you start seeing what? As soon as you go there to work with him, right, and try to help out, you see what happens. Drama. Then you see your boy, and even your boy don't even have your back. Letting you get disrespected on the show. They ain't saying nothing. Then somebody threaten you on the show. You asking your boys, and they ain't saying nothing about it, and they in the same chat, and they seen you get threatened, and they ain't saying nothing about it. They just going along with it, like act like nothing. And you expect them somebody not to have a problem with that? That's weird. Very weird. All right, back to business.
And then that whole week went, and then I came back for the week afterwards. I did that show, and that's when I kind of aired out Gilbert. And I was like, you just gonna let them keep disrespecting me? And he did. He allowed them to proceed disrespecting me until the show ended for that season 1.
That was the end of August?
Yes.
At any point in time, was it clear that you were leaving the show? And if so, was there, or were you approached by Gil, the team, anybody for you to come back to the show?
So the only person that I had communication with was Gilbert. I didn't speak to anybody else after that. And I told Gilbert that I wasn't coming back for the show. And he was like, don't say that. Like, no, like, I need you. And I said, Gil, you don't have my back. I don't feel safe. How weird is it going to be that I can't record with Brandon? Like, that's just weird. I don't even feel safe, like, at all. I'm scared that I'm going to come to the show. I'm leaving. You know, some bitches are going to try to jump me, do anything to me. And I'm not a pussy or nothing. Like, I can fight, but like, I don't like it. I'm 48 years old. Like, what I look like fighting at this age, you know, over Karl Malone being a pedophile was weird.
Right.
And so, I told Gilbert, like, when the very last episode aired of the season 1, I texted Gil and I said, you know, great season. I enjoyed myself, but I think it's best that I don't come back for the show for season 2. He called me. We were on the phone for 2 hours of him pretty much begging me to come back and telling me why I should come back and how good it's going to be. And I'm going to talk to them. You're not going to film with Brandon. It's going to be fine. He goes, you feel comfortable filming with McCants? And I was like, yeah, he's just low IQ. It's annoying. He goes, Miko, we can play that up. Like, that's good. Like, you can destroy him even more because he doesn't know what he's talking about. You know, like, do it. Like, let's go. It's fun. It's good for ratings. Like, it's entertaining. He goes, I promise you, Brandon's not going to do anything to you. I'm not going to have him on the set. I'm not going to have his girl on the set when you're there. Come back to the show, please. This went on for about a week of us talking and him convincing me. And I said, okay, I'll do season 2. Let's go. As long as you say you're going to have my back, I'll do it. Against my better judgment, I said, I'll do it. Fast forward to September. Gilbert sends me a screenshot of the schedule for October for the show. And I'm not on the schedule. He sends me a screenshot. He goes, why aren't you on the schedule for October? You tell them you couldn't film in October? And I was like, no. He goes, well, why aren't you on here? And I was like, I haven't even heard from anybody from the show at all. No one's called me, texted me, nothing since my last episode. He was like, what? And I'm like, yeah. He goes, well, call them and see what the fuck is going on. I need you on the show. Okay. I called them. They tell me that the text that I sent Gilbert after the last episode where I said I don't think it's a good idea that I come back, Gilbert sent them that as a screenshot and said she's done with the show.
So that would be, minus some of the smaller incidents, this would be the second huge burn by Gilbert Arenas?
Yes. So I was like, they was like, I said, he texted you. I said, did he tell you that he called me for like a week and begged me to stay? And they were like, no, he's never mentioned you since that text. And I'm like, so why did he ask me to call you guys and see why I'm not on the show? And they were like, that's what we're trying to figure out. We thought you quit. We loved you on the show. Like, we think you're amazing. Like some of the shows you were on with highest rated. You have our number one, the show about Anthony Davis, the viral clip that I said about him. They were like, that's our number one, like, as far as like views, everything. We want you back in the show. Gilbert said that you don't want to be on the show, so we didn't put you on the schedule. And they were like,
Now, she brought up the truth. That is actual, that's bad. Like, that was the number one views. And also the outfit she was wearing on the show. That was like one of their highest views. Now, here's the thing. She's seeing now for the first time in her life, she's figuring it out. Gilbert is not who he is appearing to be. It's the first time she's seeing it like face to face. Second time he didn't burn it. Second time. He said, not bad for 48 tune in. Well, this is what happens. Now he said, listen to this. Why would you want her on the show for views? And she's just waiting to sue you. It ain't worth fooling with these women. You ain't gonna win. These women, you think she was waiting to sue somebody? So she was waiting to get threatened by somebody for no reason at all. This person had nothing to do with Karl Malone, said nothing about that person. That person just jumped out of his bag, decided to threaten her on a whole company live chat where all of them are in the chat, the producers and everybody. Threaten her. But it's her fault for getting threatened because she's waiting to sue. First of all, this is a woman that hadn't even been paid. They hadn't even paid her yet. And she's rich. Yep, let that sink in. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this goes along with all the stuff they did. All the threats. All of this for Karl Malone.
like, do you want to be on the show? And I was like, yeah. And he talked me into it. So long as I don't record with Brandon, I'm fine. And they were like, okay, well, shit. Well, October's already set, but we're going to have you on in November. And I'm like, okay, cool. Moved on. I called Gilbert. I said, why did you send him the screenshot of me saying I quit the show, but then you didn't follow up and tell him how for a week that you talked me out of it? And he was like, show? And I'm like, duh, Gilbert, like, what the fuck? And he was like, oh, that's my bad. Yeah, I should have told them. He was, but they know now that you want to be on the show, right? And I was like, yeah, they know now that I'm going to be on in November. He was like, okay, cool. So I'm watching the show October. I'm in the chat. Everybody's like, where's Miko? Why hasn't Miko been on it? Just constant Miko. And I'm texting Gilbert during the show. I'm like, yo, why don't you just say that I'm going to be on in November? And then the show's over. And I'm like, why haven't you said that I'm going to be on in November? Every week, I'm like, why haven't you? Do you see the chat? You see, I'm sending him screenshots of my social media. Everyone constantly harassing me. When are you going to be on? I'm like, tell them November. He was like, oh, they'll figure it out. We'll let it be a surprise when you come on. Let's leave them in suspense. I'm like, okay, cool. So the whole month of October happens. And then November comes. I'm not on the schedule again. I call them. I'm like, I'm not on the schedule for November. What's up? And they're like, oh, well, we didn't have the budget to fly you out.
It's interesting.
For November. So we're looking at December.
Now, like I told you, I don't agree with her take on Karl Malone because Karl Malone hasn't been really charged with anything. But here's the thing that I can say about this whole scenario, right? That other people don't really understand or even know. But let's speak on it. Let's get it on. What she's talking about with Gil, once again, she's contacting Gil, and Gil is giving her the runaround. And now they're saying they don't have the budget. Where does that make sense? They don't even have a budget. No budget money? Where does that make sense? Where does that make sense? He's like, who's running that show? The Keystone Cap. That show's being ran by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy gets all the credit for this. They're the ones who sitting here running a show that they're acting like they can't even keep up and tell their guests what time they're going to even be on the show. I promise you, Karl Malone won't cap this hard. Won't cape this hard for Brandon Jennings. Exactly. And then you finna threaten a woman's life.
So I'm like, okay, that's stupid, but because you haven't even talked to me about budget at all. I haven't even been paid for season 1. And that's my fault because I didn't even turn the paperwork. Like I said, I do this for free. I would do this show for free. I hadn't turned any paperwork to be paid yet. I just did it last week. So I was like, you haven't even asked me what I would want to be on the show. Why are you saying budget? That's a lie. We know it has nothing to do with budget. They're giving away $100,000 for a shootout. So fast forward, I hit up the other producer and I said to him, because the guy who told me about the budget, I was like, why haven't anyone discussed money with me? He goes, we'll talk to them about it. So I hit the money guy up and he never responded to me. About 3 days later, he sent me an email. I want to read the email.
Yeah, by all means.
It said, hi, Miko, got your text the other day and thought this would be easier to break down in an email. As you know, our schedule for the rest of 2023 is already locked. Didn't know that. What's changed is that a month into this season, we're really happy with the dynamic of the current cast and don't envision bringing you back on a full-time basis. This show was always supposed to be former pros, and we really like the mix we have now. That being said, we are looking for other opportunities to involve you in our content. We're starting to kick off discussions regarding touring, performing live, venues, blah, blah, blah. And Gil and I talked about you being a part of that cast this week. In short, We'd like to find a way to work together in the future, but don't have anything firm yet. We'll be in touch when we do. I responded, hey, Tim, thanks for the email. I get the part about you guys liking the new dynamic, but now I'm not a former pro. Ouch. I'm going to let my followers know I won't be back on the show now since it's official. That was November 4th. Okay. I sent that screenshot to Gil. And Gil was like, what the fuck is this? What are they talking about? You're not going to be on the show anymore. I said, Gil, why are you acting like you don't know this? And he's like, I didn't know that. I didn't know they weren't going to have you back on the show. I didn't know any of this. Okay, Gil, whatever. Like, you're full of shit. I said, it makes sense now why you would never say that I'm going to be back on in November. It all makes sense why my name hasn't been mentioned or anything, right? I said, but you know what? Fuck it. I'm moving on. He goes, well, I'm just going to help you with your podcast. I'm going to teach you how to grow your followers. I'm going to teach you you need to go live more on your YouTube. You need to do this. You need to do that. Like, I want to help you build up your podcast. And I was like, okay, that's fine. I appreciate you helping. I move on. Then the 100th episode takes place. And I didn't watch the episode, but as soon as I opened the app, my phone is blowing up with people saying how disrespectful they were to me. And I'm like,
I never knew they had a 100th episode. Yeah, exactly. Now, Gil acted as if he didn't know. She knows that's a lie. She knows now that's a lie. Thanks for the super chat. Appreciate that. Stop Jokic. All you got to do is make him go left. Yeah, I told you about Gil.
like, what the fuck did they do? What was disrespectful, you know? And so my friends watched it and they were like, they did a montage, a whole sizzle reel of all the 100 episodes. Did you guys see it?
I did, yes. Yeah.
I still haven't seen it. I'd never tuned in to the show after all this shit was going on. And I wasn't in the sizzle at all. I was told that not even a picture. It was almost like I didn't even exist on the show. Would that be correct?
That's correct, yes.
That pissed me off because now you're trying to erase my existence of it all. And it also just makes me feel even more like, you know, they just basically had no intentions of ever having me back on the show. And they just didn't have the balls to say it. So I sent a screenshot to I made a group chat with the producers and Gil. And I said, you guys hate me? And no one responded to the text. And so Gil texted me separately and said, they're not going to respond. You know, it's legal. And I was like, what do you mean it's legal? He goes, once you threatened to call your lawyer when Brandon threatened you, they were never going to have you on the show again. And I said, so why didn't you tell me that, Gil? He goes, I just found out yesterday, which was a Wednesday. And I was like, you're full of shit. You knew this the whole time. My lawyer told me this, you know, that they were going to do this, but she's all, just see what happens, you know? And I said, the fact that I thought you were my friend and that you would tell me, like, why would you let them egg me on? Why would you encourage me to continue supporting the show, posting it, like doing all the shit I'm doing, knowing that I wasn't going to be on the show? He's like, it's your fault. You shouldn't have brought up a lawyer. You should have just let it go. You should have just got over it. You caused it. And there's more. I sent you the screenshots, Darion, of what took place. He just completely disrespected me, like talked shit, telling me all this shit about, oh, you know, it's your fault. You know, you attack Rashad McCants constantly, and now you want to play the victim. This has nothing to do with Rashad McCants. This has everything to do with Brandon threatening me and them not doing anything about it, and them telling me that they couldn't fire Brandon because they had a Steph Curry interview coming up that they really needed, and Brandon had locked in the interview, and they really needed that interview with Steph Curry. So they couldn't fire him, but told me this was a strike against him. We're going to reprimand him. We're going to tell him that if he does anything like this again, he's fired. The same thing they said they told Rashad McCants. If he, you know, disrespected me anymore, he was going to get fired. And I said to the producers, I said, you know, if you allow people to continue to disrespect someone and you do nothing about it, you know it continues, right? Like it just continues. And so I was so upset with Gil, and I was like, you're so full of shit. Like, you're trying to tell me they told you on Wednesday that I was never going to be back on the show. But then what I find out afterwards is people told me that he said on the show, on the 100th episode, we're trying to find some, we're going to have Miko on season two sometime, this season or some shit like that. He said, I don't remember exactly what was told. Why would you say that when the day before they told you I was never going to be on the show again? Why would you say that on the show?
Because he's a liar. Because he's a liar. He's a liar. Gil is the type that's going to talk one way into your face, and behind your back, he's going to talk another way. So you might as well tell him exactly how you feel about him right to his face, because you know he's going to talk real bad about you as soon as he gets out of your face. You know how you know that? Because that person talked bad to you about everybody else except for you when they're around you. They'll talk about the man that just left, their best friend. And as soon as you leave, they're doing the same thing to you. They can't help it.
You're trying to cover your own ass.
Yeah. It certainly sounds like that. I want to pose a question from my side. You know how I feel about the situation with you. I want to play devil's advocate, though. Do you think it's possible that this is more a testament to the producers and them not wanting you on the show, and Gilbert still trying to find a way to fix it for you on the behalf? Or do you solely still believe that it is, just Gilbert fucked up this whole situation?
I think that Gilbert found out that I was not going to be on the show anymore in September when he sent me that screenshot of the schedule. I believe that's when they told him, in September. And they probably told him, don't tell her that she's like, I'm fired, basically. Because when I said I didn't want to be on the show anymore, I didn't quit. I just told that to Gilbert. And then he talked me out of it. And then I said, okay. And I think that they were probably like, why did you talk her into being back on the show? We don't want her back anymore. And then he was kind of in a situation where he kind of had to play the game.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, you certainly can't excuse the behavior in that aspect.
I haven't been back here since the show because I don't trust Brandon. Like,
yeah,
I come here by myself. So I'm always scared that when I come back in town, he knows my house. He knows the layout of my house. He spent the night at my house. He spent a lot of time here. So I'm always afraid that when I come here, that something's going to happen to me, that somebody's going to harm me, to the point that I asked Gilbert to help me with purchasing a gun, and he did.
Have you?
So Gil's whole thing is, I'm not going to defend you working for our company, but I'm going to help you acquire a gun. Just in case our co-host tries to harm you and break into your home and hurt you, you can shoot and kill our co-host. But I can't stand up for you with the co-host on the show. But I'm going to help you get a gun so you can shoot in case somebody try to hurt you. Unbelievable. This is crazy. I had no idea I would be up 2 hours knowing I'm half asleep right now.
You and Brandon had any conversation or anything at all? Or has it just been completely silent?
Silent, nothing.
One thing I do want to circle back to real quick is how Gilbert said that he loved what you brought to the show initially. Bring that sex appeal, bring that knowledge. I know we recently saw a comment page that said she only really adds sex appeal. She's speaking down on McCants, then wants to play victim. Fuck out of here. Gilbert then responds with a comment and agreement. How does that make you feel when you were told initially, this is what you should bring, be you, and that was approved of? Now in hindsight, to see it as a knock on who you are.
It just validates to me that Gilbert was not my friend. Like, he's not somebody that I should have called a friend. It validates the things that I thought about him, which is he would do anything for clout. He would do anything for attention. He loves his show. He wants his show to be number one. And I wanted his show to be number one, but not at the expense of other people. And that's the part that hurts my heart genuinely, because I'm now learning, once again, that these men in these spaces, in this sports space, they will do anything for whatever it is that they want. They don't give a shit about you. He doesn't care about me at all. For you to go in there and like that comment, for you to be on social media, like agreeing with people saying that it's the reason I'm not on the show is McCants. Why are you doing that? You know it has nothing to do with this man. No, I don't like McCants. No, I don't think he belongs on the show. But he has nothing to do with why I'm not on this show. And you're perpetuating that lie with the viewers because you're not man enough to say the real reason she's not on the show is because she was threatened. Now I got to do it. Now the only pussy on the show has to have the biggest dick in the room and do this interview with you and tell everybody what really happened.
Wow. Mm, mm, mm. No, you know they wouldn't have did that, Big Knot. Shot Town in the house. They wouldn't have done that. Y'all know that. Mm-hmm. Shouts out again to Extremely NBA. Follow their page. Subscribe to their page. They did a great interview with Miko. All right, she's got over 17 years in this business. She's been holding it down and keeping it foul. She has no case. I wouldn't say that, bro. she's got messages. I have a case. I have a case, buddy. So if I got a case, I know she got one. Oh yeah, this had to come out.
Oh, that's a title.
That's tough. That was tough.
Fucking Miko Grimes. Miko, where do you go from here?
Well, I'm back.
So that's what it is. So now everybody can see that's what it is. And the narratives, the more they change, it stays the same. Oh, Brent Grime wanted to get involved. Oh, Brent wanted to get involved. He just told her, just leave. But yeah, they was about to get involved. Well, Miko was very Miko about it. Mm-hmm. Well, he's made a lot of shocking claims. He's done a lot of things that were egregious. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Underdog Fantasy. That's the page. Oh, they said Gilbert has a video saying that Miko was bullying Rashad McCants and then playing the victim. So this 90-pound woman was bullying Rashad McCants, who's every bit of 255, pure steel. That is very believable. Mm-hmm. No. The world is not going to end because of this happening, but it just goes to show you how quick we are not to fight for our black women. Yeah. I mean, she very adamant about putting an exclamation point on it. And they gonna go ahead and do a media sweep of spreading Gil's lies around to changing the narratives to go the way he wanted to go. Yes, but Miko has all the cards. So if she wants, she could sue Underdog Fantasy and Gil Arena for possible, creating a unsafe work environment. There's constant people making threats, making promises that they don't want to keep. Hmm. Well, it's like what you said right now. It's at a situation where everything's at a standstill, man. So slow motion. Of course, you got a case. It's Gilbert. It was the worst edited podcast show. So a lot of terrible things happened dealing with that show. Mm-hmm. No, 4 months ago they were not where they wanted to be. She exposed a lot. She exposed a lot of the things that I confirmed. We did a thing to show people that the podcast was not what they thought it was. We showed how it was fake traffic. I'm like at a standstill now, trying to figure out what is there else to do. You know, once you expose everything. It's pretty much nothing, or not too far to go. Like I don't want to even continue talking about them. Like I never really talk about them on my main platform. It's probably the first time they've been on this main platform, and I don't even know how long. Like completely over it. Rashad McCants is hurt over some shoes. Mm-hmm. Over some shoes. Then to start threatening the woman. Mm-mm. Well, the narratives are always going to change when you're doing stuff right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, we used to point out a lot of the facts. We used to do live streams. We used to. I remember that we used to do the live streams. And get people to show up when things was getting hot. Mm-hmm. So for y'all, keep rocking. What was her credentials? Well, she had 17 years in the business, and besides what she looked like, she also was a manager. She actually represented her husband in negotiated contracts. And she was actually good on the show. So she just found out the hard way that Gil didn't care about her and wasn't her friend. And there we are, face to face, me and Gil.
99.7% is fake. 1,000 new subs. We got a total of 16 million views.
Did you hear what he said? Did anybody hear what the man just said? He said since they just started back in February, we're in April, they got 48,000 new subscribers and had 16 million views. Did you hear that, right? Now, you heard this man. I did not put words in his mouth. The man said they got 16 million views, right? And 48 new 1,000 subscribers. I want to make sure the chat can say that is exactly what they heard, because that is exactly what the man just said. Am I correct? Is that not what the boy in the striped pajamas just said? Okay, thank you, Ms. Thrower, Andrea, for confirming that that is what the man said. Now, everyone get out your calculators. I want people to do the math. Get out your calculators. Let's put this theory to the test. Let's go full Cino right now. Bam! Live from the office. There's no secondary office here. It's just on me. I like my space. What can I say? Now, let's correct. Everybody saying correctamundo. Yeah. You got 0.10000.1%, but I think it's 0.3. Here's the numbers, people, so you don't think I'm lying. 99.7% is 48,000. So 99.7% is fake.
Out of 16 million views. Yep. Totally exposed.
So you got 0.3 of 16 million. Stop lying to the people. You guys are, your team is paying for your traffic. Why you said out of your own mouth, we didn't put words in your mouth. We made sure you said your show has 16 million views. Here we go. Now, are you ready?
Okay, there we go.
All right. Now we just.
Oh, no. All right, what's that, Joe? How was those numbers?
We'll bring those up right now.
Bring those up, sir.
We'll pull them up for you. Okay, there it is, right there. And since
now it makes sense. Yeah, now it makes sense.
2021, I was addressing you.
Yeah. So what ends up happening is with my No Chill podcast page, that's what this page was originally, No Chill Podcast. Once I signed with Fubo, I stopped actually using this page because they wasn't a YouTube page anymore. They were a TV platform. So I really wasn't using this page, and I was just like throwing little episodes here and there. So I really just gave up on the page. And then right before I came to you guys, I clicked it offline. And that's where it has 0, 0, 0, 0 during our battles.
So this is correct, is what you're saying.
Yes, it was offline. I wasn't using it anymore.
Right. So this is accurate. So now that we know that you clarified that went to negative 1,981,000. And in February, it shot all the way up.
So what you're trying to do is you're trying to take away what it was before I signed to Fubo. When I was with Himalaya, when I was by myself, and this page was when I did 113,000. So I had 113,000 before I signed with Fubo. 113 on No Chill Gil. And then when I was on Fubo for 2 years, I didn't need my YouTube anymore. So I wasn't using my YouTube anymore. And I was just fucking around. And when Kwame was saying, oh, he sold it, I started putting videos on it. So I can tell you what video. I put the Phil Hanley video just to show you that I still own the page. So if you go through the archives, you will see all the activity on the page. I did one video last year.
Okay.
So that graphic is from 2020, which means that's 2 years of really no activity on that page. But before that, 629,000, 170,000. It was a very active page. That's why I signed with a bigger deal.
Okay, you're right. That could be the reason why it's a D.
I know I'm right.
Okay, so I mean, I'll give you credit for that. That could be a reason why it's a D right now. So, but my thing is, when you have 16 million views and you have 48,000 subscribers, that is 0.3. 0.3. So when you have 0.3 on your page, like that's 0.000.3% of subscribers. That gives the impression that there is fake traffic. That traffic isn't real. Is this your claim that my?
I
mean, it's not my claim. I'm going off what you gave me.
My active page, like compared to before, these are bad numbers. If I'm doing 629,000 on my page, and now I'm doing 100, I'm getting back active. This was a very active page.
Okay. Well, let's talk about
that's why they bought the page, because they looked at the numbers before, and that's why they wanted to buy the page so they can start up this show.
Okay, so now they started up the show. Do you think they're happy with where the show is right now?
Actually, they are happy with where the show is.
They're happy with it. So are they talking about renewing the deal?
My 2-year deal? Yes.
Okay. So
I have a 2-year deal, so we're not talking about renewing nothing, but they are happy.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Because I didn't think they were happy with the number of people that were, signing up with Underdog Fantasy, because that's part of your deal. Is it not?
Well, that they signed up to
for using your code.
Yeah, I think my motherfucking money.
I mean, that's in your contract.
No, I get $1. I get $1 for everyone who signs up for them.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So you get $1.
Okay, so I get $1 for everyone who signs up to the channel, and $1 for whoever signs up to
the app. So, yeah. but that generates, them signing up to the app generates your revenue for when you got to come back to the table to do the show. That determines how much money they're going to put.
I can't tell you how many people signed up to the app.
Okay, but you do understand that I am correct with that, right?
No, I don't know what you're correct. I don't know what you're insinuating.
Okay, what I'm insinuating is that the number of signups that use your app that they use that app to go to Underdog Fantasy, that's going to determine how much money Underdog Fantasy is going to put back into Gil's arena. You understand that?
Dude, it's fucking 8 weeks. This is 8 weeks so far.
I'm just saying, is that not the process?
It is 8 weeks. They still have more money to put into the project. It's only 8 weeks. And you're trying to make it seem like this is a failure. Like, let's just stop. It's 8 weeks, right? It's
okay,
8
so
weeks.
for 8 weeks.
We had 5,700 people today. That's what they said. These motherfuckers is excited, okay?
Okay.
And they're motherfucking Gilbert Arenas fans.
Then who Gilbert Arenas fans? They are?
Yeah, Underdog.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So me getting fired, that's not going to happen. It's just not.
Well, you don't need to be fired. You just need to be under control, man. You just need to be under control. That's all.
Who's going to control me?
Right. And
The studios
don't you feel you should be apologizing to Kwame?
Fuck him. No.
He the one created you.
He's
He's the reason why they're interested in you.
I have a YouTube plaque before this nigga even knew what fucking YouTube was. I didn't know what that shit was. That's my plaque.
Dude, they give those to anybody, dude. When you kiss
Anyone
somebody's
who
ass,
gets 100,000. Anyone who
just
gets 100,000. Like before. So I mean, just so we can read it. Just so we can read what we can read it, right? This is a silver plaque. This is silver. I lost to Mark Wahlberg. This is a Telly Award for my show. A Telly Award.
Okay.
Another Telly Award for my show. No Chill Production. I had them take off Fubo TV.
Okay. So Fubo TV paid for you to get some awards. All right. So thank you for letting us know how that worked. We know how award shows go.
Yeah, so I don't need to apologize. Hey, listen, if he's that great, tell his ass to get his own fucking awards. How about that?
Okay. But my thing is, don't you think you need him to help you with this show because the actual content is terrible?
Listen, listen. I have my own audience, as you can see.
Yes, you do. But I mean, do you watch your show after you film it? Do you go back and watch episodes?
No.
I know you don't. That's what I said. So you don't see the errors and you don't see the flaws. But this has your name.
I guarantee you this: the first flaws you've seen before are not there no more.
Yes, they are. I'll say them all day. Yeah, they are.
All right, let me correct you.
I'll point one out to you right now. The fonts. Your fonts. You spend all this money and you have a great set. The set is amazing. That is an amazing set. The color, the background, everything they've done there is flawless. Well, here's the problem. You have cheap fonts. I'm like, who is putting up these little questionnaires and stuff? It is cheaply done. It lowers the production value. If I'm going to spend all this money on a set like this, I'm not going to let somebody make my work look terrible when we get to this point. If I'm going to spend money on it, like you said on my camera phone,
I'll tell them that their custom fonts are cheap.
I mean, you should know that. It's your show. Your name is on it. Their fonts is terrible.
I'll tell them
and that's just one of the. That's one of the.
I'll tell them that their custom fonts is terrible.
Yeah. Go look at other people's shows. Go look at other people's shows and look how their fonts is. Look how the intros are. The intro's terrible. It's so much wrong with this show.
And that's the best part about it, sir. It's fucking 8 weeks.
I know, but
I think. Hold on.
Now, what did he do? Now, what did I tell him? Now, what did he do? He changed the intro and he changed the fonts. Remember, he said the errors weren't there no more? They were there. I just gave him 2 things. And you know what he did? He changed that intro and he changed the fonts. So, anyway, shouts out to Kwame Brown, Bus Life, Miko Grimes, Extremely NBA, Ticket TV, Mono Black TV, Welcome to HD, 2 Eyes TV, Jag Sports with Jose Rodriguez, One Crack News, the Casino for Life Patreon, and thank all of you who hit up the Cash App, which is Casino. You see the banner below. We gave y'all all exclusive stuff today. Tired now. It's time for Sino to get some sleep. All right, I'm out. 1.